In my mission, we had cars, bikes, and of course our feet. And depending on our area, we used each one differently. In one of my areas, we biked a lot more because it was easier and worked for us. And in most of my areas, we used cars because, especially in the bigger areas, it was easier to get around and you didn't waste as much time, I guess, trying to get from place to place. But riding a bike in a skirt with a helmet on in 100-degree weather and extreme humidity doesn't get better than that. And it's experiences that that I'll never forget and memories that I'll always have. It is humid and hot in Texas, in Houston, but if you be wise about the clothes that you decide to take, and you'll be fine. You'll get used to sweating and being hot, and it's just fine. And a lot of the Hispanic people especially don't really have air conditioning anyway, so you just go in their house and sit down and keep sweating with them, and it's all alright. And you just learn to love it. When I knew that I was going to Texas, I didn't really think that I'd have a problem with culture shock or it really being much different than Utah, but when I got there, I found out it was a lot different, and there was a little bit of culture shock, especially being Spanish speaking and working with the Hispanic people, and their way of life and the way they're used to doing things is just different, and they're so humble, and a lot of them haven't been in the United States for very long, and they really don't have very much, but I learned that having things in life really doesn't matter. It's really all about having the gospel, and when those people had the gospel, it didn't matter to them what else they had. And it was hard at the beginning to see people that had nothing and that needed everything, and I definitely learned to appreciate everything that I had in my own life growing up, and I wanted to give everything that I had to them, but I knew that the gospel was what they really needed, and that was what I loved most about being Spanish speaking as well, especially down in Texas, in the South, where pretty much everybody believes in God, and but a lot of them are set in their religion. But the Hispanic people, even though a lot of them have a religious background, they're a lot more humble and a lot more willing to listen to you and open to the message and to learning more about Jesus Christ. And so we would always joke about, for Spanish missionaries, it was easy for them to get in the door because the Hispanic people love you and they're nice to everybody and they'll just let you in. But they just love to listen and aren't always willing to act, where the English missionaries a lot of time had a harder time getting in the door, but once they were in the door, they were able to have their investigators progress a lot faster. But I love the Hispanic food and the Hispanic culture. I learned to love it and I miss it now. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's awesome and you'll love it. It's awesome being Spanish speaking in Houston because there's people from all over. There's people from El Salvador, Honduras, Cuba, Mexico. There's people from all over South America that are there, so that's cool because you get to hear a lot of different accents and different types of Spanish. And of course you're around a lot of the southern people down there that speak English as well, and they definitely have their own type of accent. And I honestly didn't teach many people in English. I don't really remember exactly what their accent's really like, but I do remember walking down the street and hearing it, and it would make my companion and I laugh sometimes. So usually with my companions, we would wake up earlier than 6:30 so we could work out longer, because all those tortillas will do you in. But we would get up at between 6 and 6:15, and I had one companion that would jump out of bed literally every morning, and that taught me a lot, though, to be excited to get up and to get out and to start working. And we'd get out and go work out until 7, come back and shower and get ready. And it's one thing to be in a companionship with another sister, but it's another to be in a trio and trying to get all three of you ready to go in less than about 45 minutes can be a chore sometimes. But one of us in the shower, the other one making food, and the other one sometimes starting to study. And then we started studies at 8 o'clock and companionship study at 9. Then we would have Spanish study at 10, and usually go out and start working at 11 or have lunch at 11 and then go out and start working after that. And depending on the day, and some of my areas we were booked with appointments back to back to back, and other days we had several hours of just finding, and I loved it all. Sometimes it got hot and hard to knock doors, which we did in our mission for hours on end, but you knew that you were trying your best and that eventually something would come of it. We always ate dinner with members, and then we would usually have a lot more appointments in the evening and get back home between 9:30 and head to bed can't forget nightly planning and then getting ready for bed and ready to do it all again the next day. When I got home, my dad would always tease me. He would tell me that when I spoke English, I would, like in Spanish, at the end of a sentence, you raise your voice, like your voice gets higher. And when I got home, my dad would tell me when I spoke English, my voice would go higher. And people also tell me that I say y'all, which I never notice it when I say it, but people tell me that I say it, and all the people down there say that. So I don't know if I really picked up a Texas accent or if I just have the Spanish cadence in my voice sometimes when I talk. But you might come home speaking a little funny. It just depends.